I watched the show, but I didn't realize that Kodo was Kodo de Casa, because when I first also like landed here, I felt like I landed on the moon, and I'd be like driving on the roads, and I would like call my ex and I'd be like, I'm lost, like I'm on La Jolla, like I don't know where I am. Because like everything's so different here, and I don't know, like, and everything's in Spanish, and I'm like, I'm playing catch up, you know, and I'm like, I'm trying my best, I don't know what's going on.
I'm gonna start calling it that now. Because that's funny.
We're taking that. We're gonna take that one.
Okay, you can have that. Trust me, you can have that.
Thank you.
But yeah, so like I would struggle, so I didn't really get it, you know. And then my girlfriends from home, so still like best friends, like my girlfriends from like kindergarten in New York, and they were like, "Shit, Gina, like that's where the Real Housewives live. You're gonna be the next Real Housewife." And we would joke about it, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, like I drive a minivan, like I'd be the poor one, you know." And then it's like kind of ironic to me now because I'm like, I am the poor one on the show, but like,
ironic,
but like I'm nonetheless, I am still on the show. So I literally didn't even know, and then I knew, I was aware of it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, you know? And then I made friends with Tatiana, she's on the show. I met Tatiana, and I found out that she knew Tamra, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you know Tamra? And that the gym, Cut Fitness, was like local to where we live. And I was like, this is great, you know? And she was like, she was involved with Advocare, you know, it was like vitamins. It was like an MLM for vitamins. Okay. And I guess Tamra was linked in with that.
And I'm sorry, how did you meet Tatiana then? Like, I
just met her at like, we got set up actually through like a friend from like a mom group. She was like, oh my God, because we're both from the East Coast. So our friend was like, oh my God, you have to meet my friend Tatiana. You're both from New York. You guys are going to, because everybody assumes we're going to like each other, but we do. Yeah, she knew Tamra. And she was like, this is Tatiana. She was like, I'm going to have a party at my house for Advocare, and Tamra's coming. Do you want to come? And I was like, I don't give a shit about your vitamins, but I want to meet Tamra. You know?
That sounds like what you would do.
Right? Yeah. You were like, you need to have Gina on your podcast, and I'm the co-host. Thank you. Yes. And I totally understand that. Right. Yes. Right. And at that party, Tamra, like I sat right next to her. All the other bitches were like pretending like they weren't, like they were there for the fucking vitamins. Like we know you're not here for the vitamins, you know? Right. And we were like, she was making me laugh. She spilled so much tea that day. And I was like, this is the best day ever, you know? And
everything I hoped and dreamed.
Right? Yeah, I was like, it's all happening. This is awesome. And then I really was just like a bored housewife. I was also going through like a lot of personal stuff in my relationship that nobody knew about. Yeah. And, you know, so for me, it was like, this is such a fun thing. Then I found out that she was like, you should audition. There's open auditions. I was like, what is an audition? You know? And
they audition for it?
So you have to technically, but it's like it's just like an interview process. Like they call it auditioning, but it's just an interview process.
You didn't have to like put in like headshots or anything like that? Or
well, I don't have any of that shit. They were like, can you send me pictures? I was like going on my Facebook that I had like 200, it was a private page, 200 followers. I was like, oh, Instagram.
I kind of like the way the lighting was on this one.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I'm still not like a filter. I don't, you know, so it was what it was. So Tatiana actually was auditioning, and she had a Skype interview, and then they had her fill out like a 9-page application, and there was a spot that was like, if you know anybody else who might be interested, and she put my name and number, and they called me.
Wow.
And they just kept calling me and pushing me through to and I'd be like, every time they would call me, I'd be like, really? Like, do you really, like, I thought they were making a mistake. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
it's like, you guys, I don't think you really know what you're doing.
They've been doing it for, how many years has the show been running now?
A long time.
16 seasons.
16 seasons.
All stretched out over more years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you've been on for 5 seasons now?
I've been on for 4 seasons.
4 seasons, okay.
Shot over 5 years, yeah. And so hopefully this will be, you know, my 5th. So it was just, so like really, it was like, I remember actually one of the last rounds of interviews, they called me, and I was literally standing on a ladder in my garage, hanging dead ghosts and mummies and shit in my garage, because I was turning my garage into a haunted house for my kids, because I love scaring the crap out of my kids.
So was it actually for Halloween in October, or was it just like the middle of the summer?
No, it was that would be a better story, but it actually was seasonally appropriate. But that would be a way better story. I should start telling it that way. Yeah, sure. Right? Yes.
I just love scaring the shit out of my kids. So they went to school, and I set up this whole
and I was like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna get you.
I think we're gonna get along with it as well. We love to scare the shit out of each other and our kids all the time.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like really,
it's
and my
so much
kids
fun.
love it, and we love like going to the Halloween store and picking out like this, and like my daughter just like she like literally will like crap our pants. Like she's so, and it's like I don't know why, but we love it. That's horrible to say. It's not mom advice, but it's true.
That's great.
What
Gotta
keeps
have
it
fun.
all right? It keeps it fun.
Here's the other thing about that, not to sidetrack too much, but the way I feel about it is they're eventually going to be grown-ass adults, right? And you want to have that friendship with them too, that you have with your other friends at some point too.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you have yes, you got to be the parent sometimes, but eventually you're going to have that friendship to look forward to as well. So
You're right.
put in the seeds now.
Yeah, you got to plant those seeds. Yeah, you want to have fun with that. You got to
Yeah.
you got to
Yes,
play with
you
your
wanna have
kids,
fun.
right?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like because most of it is just fucking hard work.
Yeah.
So I'm
Fuck
like, if
that.
I can't at least just scare the crap out of you on Halloween, like, what
Yeah.
is this all for?
Then,
You
you
know,
know,
why did I have you?
I didn't plan for this.
Like, I gotta pay for college and shit. Like, this was such a commitment. I didn't even know I was making.
right?
Yeah,
Hopefully
so-
they don't go to college.
Yeah, right. At least
Wow.
one, I hope, joins the union, or we got a rock star would be great. I'll
That's
take
what I'm
that.
saying. That's what I'm-
Yeah.
she keeps pushing college. I'm like, we don't know what he's going to want to do yet. I'm not planning on
I
that.
mean, the 0.01% of people that actually make it, but
But he'll be fine.
Or you, like for me, I'm like, you just manifest that shit. Like
There you
I don't
go.
know, like it just
Manifest it. You're
you
sitting
put
there.
it out there.
You're setting up for Halloween and scaring your children. You're on the
Yeah.
phone call. This is like the last interview. Now we
Right.
could go back to that story. See, we segue right back into it.
Surprise! I'm a celebrity now. Like, literally, like that's how it happened. And like I love that because I do feel like what the show was like originally was just like these interesting women who were like obviously just had like way too much time and way too much money, and but it was like all real and like very authentic, and just them doing them and like living their lives. And I being on it for a while, I understand. I didn't get it why I was like keep going through at the time, but now I see it's because it's like I was like a diamond in the rough because I had no fucking idea what was going on. I wasn't trying to get on the show. I was like, this is just fun, like what, you know, and it was good for me too because like at a time when like I feel like I had like my self-esteem was down because of everything going on, like, and my marriage was like not good. It like reminded me kind of who I was again. It felt good, you know, to have people like
Of
validate
course.
you and tell you you're funny and whatever. And it's rad because like it really like things like this can happen, and now I see that that's different than most of the people these women are trying to get on the show.
yeah.
That's and then they think when they get on the show that they have to be a certain way because they feel like they've got this all figured out or whatever. And then that's just not as good, you know?
Are they feeding you guys? Like that really brought my curiosity. Do they feed you guys like, you know, a little bit of feuds and stuff like that within the show? Or is it like just okay?
They don't have to.
Okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
you're gonna put me in a room with so many people that piss me off. Right? You know what I mean? It's just like
it's
So
not
it was all done in the casting.
It's
and
not
everything.
really.
their
Yeah.
first time, right?
I got bamboozled
Yeah,
for
they're-
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, because now they're like, oh, you got on. I'm like, yay. They're like, now you got to go to lunch with these people. I'm like, fuck no, I don't do that.
Are you just sent in there blindly? Like, and you're just meeting people for the first time, and then
that's
really?
So the first time I filmed. Like I filmed out with my kids and my mom at the zoo that we went to all the time. I remember, except when now I'm on the show, like the fucking beaver's out. There was like a pig painting and shit. I was like, where was all this shit when I wasn't on the show? You know,
Right? Yeah,
it was like the
exactly.
best day of
Exactly.
the zoo
Yeah, yeah.
ever. Yeah, because it was all like that.
We gotta let them know we're coming next time we go to
You should
the
let everyone know you're coming. Yes,
Dude,
at the
I'm
Irvine
bringing the
Regional
camera,
Zoo.
too.
Yeah.
Or just show up with your own camera
Right?
and be
Right,
like,
hey.
If they
I'll
respond
just say
to
drinks
it,
with Johnny. We're doing the zoo today.
yeah.
we'll do the podcast at the zoo. It'll
That'll
be a
do
great
that.
day.
We'll bring all the kids.
All
That'll
the
actually
kids.
be a
It'll
lot
be
of
a
fun.
great day. We'll do a location shoot. Actually, it would be phenomenal, and it's a really great zoo. So I
would
would
love that,
fully
actually.
do that. Yes, I would love that. And my kids love littles, so like they would totally like your son. It's his son, right?
Yeah.
And what's his
Frankie.
name? Frankie.
Frankie.
Oh, so
Frankie.
cute. He would just, I bet he would just roll right with their back because they love like extra.
Well, my brother has 6 children as well.
Oh, okay.
And so any chance we get, we send him over there, and
Yeah.
they have a great time together.
It's like shock therapy.
It is.
Yeah,
'Cause he's
that's
an only
Housewives
child.
actually. That's what you're doing to Frankie. Is you're setting him in with these 6 kids. He's probably coming out like, oh my god, and that's what happens
That's
to
what
me.
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little bit of how that. And so, So let's flash forward. You were on the ladder, getting to the Halloween gear, ready to go. Next thing you know, you're at lunch with a bunch of people you didn't want to be at lunch with.
I was at Cut Fitness. I remember was the first thing I did a workout, and I was so nervous. And I remember coming in, and Emily, I started on the show with her too. She was new too. She came in, but I didn't know who she was.
You didn't know each other prior. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about anything. And then I remember Tamara was there, but I had met her a couple times before, so like that was okay. And it was like you guys are saying, like they just fling you in. And when I showed up, I was like, wait, you're just gonna like fling me in? Like that felt like I was like, this is so scary.
Yeah.
And I remember Kelly Dodd walked in, and I was like, oh my god! Like, and then I remember we went back out to the car, and I was with Tatiana because I got to bring like a couple of my friends. I brought my friends Tot and Sarah, or whatever, to do the workout. And also, I was hoping it was a fake workout. It was not. That's bullshit. Okay, I was sweating like an animal.
You're like, fuck, this is not what I signed up for.
If you're not being filmed, do you put makeup on before you go to the gym, or did you know you're filmed, so you put some makeup on, or? I wonder about that because I'm watching the show a little bit. And I'm saying
I've heard that's
everyone
a
looks a little more
requirement,
dolled
right?
up than when I usually go to the gyms that I go to.
I mean, I feel like if you knew you were going to be on camera, you would. But if you do watch, like my first scene that I didn't have on makeup. Like,
okay.
and you, like
well,
me,
and
I can't keep up with it. I look homeless half the time, you know. And I'm just like, it is what it is. There's like piles of laundry and shit around my house all the time, and I'm like, I can't. This is my real. So I generally, like, if I was coming over your house now, I would put makeup on, so I put makeup on, but there's definitely time. I'm definitely not the one to ask that question to, because I wish I put on makeup before every fucking thing. But I can't, you can't. But I do think that people respond better to that.
That's interesting. I just always assumed that it was like like a given. Like that was like, nope, you have to have your makeup on, you have to do your face every day.
No. And I think that I honestly think that some of the cast members miss the mark on that, because like they'll come on and they'll be like, oh my God, it's been so hard to like, keep up with the makeup, and I'm not usually a dress up person. And I'm like, then why are you doing that? Because when they casted you for who you were. Yeah. And like the quickest way to lose your job is to not be who they casted. Yeah. So for me, I feel very lucky because I just was myself from the beginning. So now I just need to show up and be myself. Yeah. And I don't have that like added pressure of like, oh, well, I was trying to get on the show, so I was portraying something that I'm not, and now I'm stuck in that. Yeah.
Yes. Then you're trying to keep up with your lies that you've.
Right. I mean, who has time for that shit? Yeah.
That's with 6 kids in it.
No, that's why I also tell the truth. I'm a good, bad, or ugly. I just tell and I don't get in trouble that way. You know. I mean, I'm not always right. I'm not always perfect. Like I'm a little messy, but like.
I think everybody is, right?
Yeah.
I think that makes it more relatable too,
that's what I get. I'm like the relatable one. I'm like, okay. I mean, I would love to be the fucking, I'm the high fashion diva model one.
I think you can still be that and relatable at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're just yourself about it, right?
I mean, you could dip in and out of it. Yeah, I mean, I can dress up when I go out. I clean up all right.
You clean up great.
Oh yeah, it's like
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if I'm with the kids and I'm, whatever, it is what it is.
Well, that keeps the real in the name, right?
Right. Yeah, and I do think that the show needed that, and I think it needs more of that. Like,
I agree. I totally agree. And I've told, like, when he told me that you were coming on the show, I was like, yeah, she's my favorite.
Yay, Lisa, you heard it.
But I do agree. I feel like because I don't know, you just don't. I don't want to say that you're the relatable one. I just feel like you're the most authentic.